you got your fetish in my Star Trek. Oh, you got your Star Trek in my fetish. Oh, I don't know. Final season of their respective shows. And at some point, after all the years, that one guy in the world ideas of combining. Fine, man with a picture. Now zip up your fly and go right ahead. Hologram forces in front of space. They call them photonics. During the attack, the doctors lost, and the two humans arrested, and their mobile emitter is confiscated. However, it's always checked. Then and downloaded the doctor's program into a cybernetic matrix, and, as you'd expect, that has taken over her body. And why the hell not? Apparently, 7 needs to install a firewall in her brain. So the doctor has at last succeeded in getting the 7's hands in. Hey! Playing with someone else's solution in their body. No, that's a flag and a 15-yard penalty. Mary stands there shocked as he broke his mental gearbox at the sight of this. You realize that if that were Tom instead of the doctor inside Seven's body, it would be like all the planets and the torches that give Harry Kim coming into alignment. A miracle that could probably turn him from a wooden construct into a real boy. Alas, so close and yet so far, the story of Harry's life. Instead of being moments from heaven, he's trapped in a cell with a perversion of both the scientific and sexual sex. Still, it's probably not just torture. When you have a twisted perversion, putting Harry next to it is good. Like when they have a man stand next to a dinosaur skeleton to give it some sense of scale. In this case, 7 Doc here is 4.7 decikims, I'd say, where a kim is the amount of Harry's sexual trauma applied per cubic meter per second. Don't confuse that with a metric kim, which is comparable, but is a measure of personal shame. For instance, the Doctor uses 7 senses to locate the source of the toxic smell in the cell. Here. Poor dumb Harry. Meanwhile, scoring a mere 8.2 metric milligrams is Tuvok, who in answer to the long-awaited question of not being the pond far, the Vulcan males need every 7 years to, among other things, do the Vulcan salute without the ring finger. Tom handles it with the kind of medical tactics you get from a former convict and Navy pilot, which is ridicule, but he does respect Tuvok's privacy enough to lie to Janeway about what's really wrong with him. Meanwhile, we note the Red Dwarf experience with the Doctor, who's using the time in Seven's body to eat like crazy without concern for the consequences. The first thing a program concerned with medical well-being would be inclined to do. Getting classes with the captain, the Doc gets the mobile emitter back in exchange for acting as a temporary medic. They extract the Doctor back into the mobile emitter, and 7 is less than thrilled with the results of the investigation, and the fact that, even though she had no control over what she was doing, she was fully conscious of all of it. Now, they could just shut down the mobile emitter to hide the Doctor, since episodes like Gravity show even when crashing a primitive dump, it could be done without any ill effects. But once your script notes include Doctor and Seven's body, it's fair war and common sense anyway. So Harry convinces Seven to let the Doc back inside her body. Well, if the Doctor was dialing it up to 11 at the start of the episode, you can imagine what it's like now. Behind the scenes, Ricardo performed each scene so that Ryan can watch for a few times and then imitate it. It is a step up from the kind of acting we'll see in the second, and thankfully last, entry in this scene, but it is sometimes a bit over the top, like the way many people imitate Shatner. It seems to overemphasize some traits to sometimes move from imitation to caricature. And in a Doctor using 7 to praise himself, unlike the tongue-in-cheek fun of Tinker 10 or Dr. Spy, the Doctor's ego trips are getting extremely grating. Yes, I'm sure I know what somebody might be saying. Don't you see it, Dave, that he's trying to change the attitude towards holograms? Maybe, but that doesn't mean you should be monologuing about how awesome it is at absolutely everything. Over on Voyager, Tuvok's treatment wasn't working, so Tom prescribes holographic prostitutes. When your medical training at the Academy was 2 semesters of biochemistry and how to drink just slightly less than a stick to fill yourself, hollow whores are your go-to backup prescription. After Tuvok protests, Tom suggests a holographic recreation of his wife. Tuvok's one kind of terrorist. I don't think Torres would be happy to start picking up holograms in her, especially the Vulcans, given what happened with war. Actually, what happened with war makes this whole enterprise questionable, but I'll probably piss off enough people with this review as it is, so let's just move on. While Tuvok is preparing to do the deed, aliens attack, and Janeway initiates the cock-blocker subroutine, shutting down the hologram. Having dealt with Tuvok, Janeway then carries out her standard diplomacy. None.
The other alternative is, we destroy your ship.
Mission Conference Cell 1 Today she decided to warn them before firing. Meanwhile, continuing the boning scene, the captain summons Seven Doc up onto the bridge in the hopes of humping him, or whatever. But as the Italians say, race is false, and he's tossed into a compound. After returning to sickbay, ranting about the kids, Jaren here tries to help Seven Doc calm down, but it doesn't help that now Doc's eyes have wandered to her, and when she massages away a cram, well,
You became sexually aroused in my body.
yeah, there ain't a Hallmark card for that one, Doc. Well, the doctor can't leave well enough alone, ranting at Seven for the way she lives. Make an excellent contrast. What happens to stress in writing room? What clueless levels do they operate? Like, on a scale of 1 to moron, where do they fit? Do they skim the obvious, or just not get anywhere near? Okay, so I've got this idea when the doctor takes over Seven's body. Loving it. He's doing all this stuff, making mistakes, eating and drinking things he shouldn't, getting her all dewy. Fish out of water, always good. Seven can totally see everything he does and has no control over it. Comedy gold, maestro, comedy gold. Haven't we spent like 4 seasons showing Seven trying to gradually recover from being aboard? Showing her trying to heal emotionally from all the time she spent doing things with no control over her own body? And now you're having a man take control of her body and put her into uncomfortable, embarrassing situations after we've established how emotionally scarred she is from being under the control of others? Don't you think that not only ignoring that fact while the doctor controls her body, but then calling her a repressed bitch seems insensitive and arguably misogynistic? You get the fuck out! Why is the 17 possessed about her getting the learning experience? After that experience on the bridge, shouldn't the doctor be showing a bit more sympathy at what it must be like to be lusted after? Or what pain feels like? The doctor giving the lecture makes him look like a dick. And if the message that indulging is what makes life worth living, something you need to give to the American audience, which, let's be honest, isn't often a picture of someone who fails to indulge themselves. It's frankly surprising. It's like watching a video being shown to frat boys, and the lesson is, at a party, you may be tempted to find a drunk girl who's passed out and rape her, but stop. That's fake. Put on a rubber first. Well, with the final act, it's time to begin a wacky plan to escape. The doctor is once again back in Seven's body, tricking the captain into another date on the Delta Flyer. But the captain failed to consider that even when in another person's body and a captive on an alien ship, the Starfleet position can always get their hands on an off-button hyperspray. Seven Doc then contacts Voyager. Over there, Tuvok is suffering through his shift. Janeway letting him in that she's figured it out. He's had a hole in his blood what this company is on far thing. Oh, great, just what this scene needed, an appearance by the last douchebender. What's Alexia Kidney Stones he passing on the scrolls of wisdom this week? Anyway, the by the numbers rescue happens. The captain getting hurt and his crew being forced to trust the doctor to save him. The episode finishes. It's funny that in the later seasons of Voyager, so many episodes are about Seven learning a lesson about being human, and by season 7, even in one where she personally has about 6 minutes of screen time, she has still apparently learned a lesson about being human. Post-episode follow-up, Super Felix Mulligan and hassling Tuvok on his own. I'm sure it's a thought that just been thought is not a word you normally associate with cinema. Final score for Body and Soul is 6 out of 10. I'm sure some of you are again saying, how can you give such an unfair score, Dave? Or Chuck, or whoever this guy who is the red letter media is. Well, I'm afraid that what you get when you have an episode like this, one which does nothing except take the same tired formula, crew members caught by some aliens, they will bend and need to escape, and trying to shake it up with just one element. It was supposed to carry the episode, and maybe it could have carried a scene or two, having the doctor perhaps reprise the role again. But it just can't carry the primary plot of the episode by itself. Now don't misunderstand, the doctor is often an interesting and funny character, and Seven is often an interesting and tragic character, but merging them like this is like expecting George Carlin, Jonathan Stewart, and Chris Rock to then do a Three Stooges routine. After a while, the novelty wears off. In all honesty, had this not been a request, I would have liked to put it up sometime in 2014. Because with comedy episodes, you either find something funny or you don't. And in this case, I'm on the latter side. So without that, there's little to prop the episode up. Some of the jokes that aren't about possession work, and the fact that it manages to keep, for the most part, its momentum going, helps keep the possession scenes from becoming tedious. McNeil does a good job with